Do you have trouble focusing at work? Or you could be in a meeting, you're trying to focus on what's being said, but it's like you've got a fog overhead. You can't really get it. You don't really, you can't comprehend what's being said. And or you have trouble remember what's going on because you didn't breathe well at night and therefore your sleep is compromised. So it's not really bad snoring. It's not bad enough that you have severe apnea that you need a CPAP machine, but it's there. You know it's there and you want to fix it. Give me the next 5 minutes. I'm going to give you one breathing exercise that's going to change everything for you. Hi, my name is Stephen Ko. I'm the executive health coach and founder of Executive Warrior Academy. And here I share with you regular videos that's going to help ambitious people reignite their energy and focus so that they can become unstoppable at work and in life. And subscribe if you want to see more content like this. I produce regular content that's designed to tap into your limitless potential. Okay, now, some of my clients, they know that they do have slight snoring, right? So either through an app or their partner tells them about it, but then it's not severe enough. So they're not really actively doing anything about it. You know what happens when you snore on a low level, even at a low level? It means you have obstructed breathing. And when you sleep, you need all the oxygen you can get. A low level of oxygen means your brain cannot flush properly, it can't cleanse itself. And over the long term, you get a buildup of junk and gunk in your brain that's not clear from your brain, and it's going to affect your cognitive ability, right? Your ability to access discipline, to access focus, to access creativity. Everything is going to be undermined. And if you're a high performer, this is something that we do not want to do. So what is the solution? Well, there's a few things. On the longer term, you probably need to work on your weight, right? A lot of people who have these early symptoms are generally a little bit overweight. It may not show in the tummy, but if you're Asian like me, you may have the genes, which means that you don't actually accumulate weight or fat on your belly where you can see it. You accumulate your fat in the internals. So we call that visceral fat. And that's probably the worst place to accumulate fat, but you don't look fat, right? So what also happens is when you accumulate fat in your internals, you can also accumulate fat in your tongue. We call that a fatty tongue. And that obstructs breathing. So that's one of the reasons a lot of people miss when addressing breathing issues is they don't think about the fatty tongue. They may not look fat, so they overlook the fatty tongue syndrome, the issue, right? So in the longer term, you want to reduce your body fat percentage to get rid of the fatty tongue. And if you do, obviously, appear appearance-wise as overweight, that's definitely something you want to work on. And that in itself will improve your breath, right? But that's on a longer term basis. What about shorter term? What about things that you can do right here, right now to actually start to improve your breathing during sleep? Now, what happens is when you sleep, obviously you're not conscious, so you're not thinking about your breath. So what we want to do is actually work on your nasal capacity to breathe, right? So behind your nose is like a cavity. Your nasal cavity is a really complicated set of tubes, and what happens is when air goes through your nose, it gets moisturized, right? It gets humidity, and it's actually conditioned to go into your lung properly. But when you breathe in through your mouth, guess what? None of those things happen. So the air goes in, you can have dry mouth, you can have chronic sinusitis, you have inflammation, blocked nose all the time. And if you want to learn more about it, read James Nestor's book on Breathe, and you will understand the consequence of mouth breathing. That is another overlooked cause that a lot of people do not work on. They focus just on weight, or maybe they look at just straight into a CPAP machine. But those are to address the symptoms. They're not really fundamentally helping you breathe better. You create a dependency on these things. That's not a high performer. A high performer should be able to function at the best, even if they don't have those devices. Now, medically, some people do need them, but we can still work on our breath, and those devices will work better if you absolutely have to require it. So what do you do, right? The way to do this is you want to focus on training your nose to breathe, and you want to close your mouth. Now, some biohacking people will say, well, taping your mouth will force your nose to breathe, which is correct, and that's a good thing. That is a good thing to train nose breathing when you sleep. And that in itself will actually open up your airways, start to address some of the inflammation that's causing breathing issues, with the exception that if you've been a chronic mouth breather for a very long time, taping your mouth could make your condition or your sleep a lot worse because you haven't built up the capacity to breathe effectively through your nose. So you got to build that up. So before you do try taping, make sure that you can breathe through your nose effectively before trying taping your mouth. That's what a lot of people miss. So what can we do to address the breathing? Here's a breathing exercise I'll give you. And you're welcome to join me in training this exercise, okay? The way you're going to do it is close your mouth and you're going to breathe in through your nose forcefully. And while you're doing that, put your tongue on the roof of your mouth like this. So your tongue, that's the roof of your mouth. Make sure that you're pushing up forcefully as you breathe in. So it looks like this. Okay? And you're going to push while you're breathing in. Okay, when you're breathing out, you can let it out through your mouth. That's fine. Or through your nose doesn't really matter. But the important thing is you're going to breathe forcefully through your nose, and you're going to do a double breath. All right, so it looks like this, and slowly out. And you're going to repeat that 10 times. Okay, you're going to repeat that 10 times. Do that 3 times a day. What you can expect to experience is your breathing actually become easier even when you're not training, even when you sleep. You'll find that over the long term, along with other snoring aids, that this is going to fundamentally change your energy level, your ability to focus at work, your ability to work at your best, right? Because you are reconditioning your nose, you're training your nasal passages to expand, to become more efficient at breathing because you're training it. And that's a breath training we normally do to train as martial artists to become better at breathing while under stress. Okay, so I hope you find this video useful. Now, when you start doing this, you might be wondering, I don't know if I'm doing it right. Okay, and that's where a lot of people make a mistake, that because they watching videos is one thing, but when they do it, it's another thing. So if breathing and improving your snoring when you sleep and having more energy and focus is something that you're interested in, drop me the word focus below. What I will do is I'll give you a training video that goes through from beginning to end of an entire breathing exercise session, right? You can then take that, follow along and train 3 times a day. And what I will also help you with, if you send me a video of you practicing the breathing, I will give you one-to-one feedback to let you know if you're doing it right. I hope you find this video useful and you learn something or two. Drop the word focus below if you want my training video and I'll send it through to you. Take care.